gotta give in now. I think I gotta live this now. I think gonna be when I'ma kill this stuff real quick. I'ma go take it to town, cause I gotta be that king in the ring when I'm knocking them out when I'm back with the will. Cause I am just up on the journey, you just know that I'm just going insane.
Warriors, rise. Grand rising. Good evening, warriors all over the world. We're excited to be with you with one of my dear friends, Waters Above. We're going to dive into it today. Their internet issues, man, they're trying to stop us. They're trying to stop the energy frequency, but they cannot stop light, love, and positivity. So we're coming together. We're going to come together more frequently. Thank you for all the amazing comments already. If you're listening to this on YouTube, we want to say thank you. If you're listening on Twitter, I want to say thank you very, 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 very much. You know, we're going to have a conversation today, and we put in the title here is the end of the Jubilee to be prepared. And I've been talking to you, and I want to start for just a moment and share how honored I am to understand and get to know Waters Above and understanding the things that he taught me about the Shemitah and the opening to different things that he's taught me that a lot of people, as we have this conversation, I think you'll feel the frequency and vibration. And here we are. It's so crazy. You taught me about the Shemitah. The end of the Jubilee is here. We got so many things going on within the economy. So today's conversation, you know, you guys know how it goes, man. We're going to start out probably with economic, and then we'll be deep down the rabbit hole and sharing information. We are having internet issues. So if Waters Above does have to drop off, don't worry, guys. We're going to do this more consistently and frequently because I feel this vibrational frequency needs to get out to the world. Now, remember, Waters and I are not trying to create a belief system for you. We're trying to get you to believe in yourselves, which is the most powerful thing. So Waters Above, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing amazing, man. I'm really excited to reconnect with you. It's been some time. And also, I appreciate you having me on recently in your virtual event. So shout out to Jackie and the 3T Warrior Academy, because that was really great to be able to connect with you guys and to just see what you're doing outside of YouTube. You know, it's really impressive.
Yeah, that's just the beginning. Thank you so much. You're going to be a big part of that family. That's our X-Royalty project where we are tokenizing the event side of our academy and growing it. And it's just such a beautiful time right now. So let's dive into it, man. So we'll start out with the end of the Jubilee. And first of all, how are you doing, man? How's life? How's everything going with you?
I'm doing amazing. Yeah, I've been busier than ever. I'm working on so many different projects. I have, I've just started to expand a lot and to think bigger. And you are well aware, and a lot of people that are aware of my work through I'm very spiritual in my perspective, and I'm all about expanding consciousness. And I think there's more to life than just looking at charts or caring about the prices of these digital assets. So that's been very motivating for me to just think about the bigger picture and about mindset and mental health, and how we are moving into a bull run very soon. I believe we're already in phase 1 of a bull run. And I just want to get my people prepared emotionally, spiritually, physically, like in all ways, to accept this abundance that's about to come into all of our lives.
I love it, man. Okay, let's dive into it. So you talked about expansiveness of consciousness, and that's something where I'm at in my personal life, my personal journey. Like, I've never been more deep in my spirituality and trying to understand at a very, very, very deep level the construct of my thoughts, my actions, and most of all, my reactions to the world. So we have a lot of things coming up right now that could cause a massive, massive negative reaction in people. So as we have these conversations, I want to let our people know that, you know, Waters Above are about, you know, positivity. Like, how you react to these situations is probably the most important thing. If I had a magic wand, or maybe I was a Wizard of Oz, what I would do is I would control people's reactions and their emotions. So we have the end of the Jubilee coming. So what does that mean in your paradigm? What does the end of Jubilee mean, and what does it mean for us?
Yeah. So first and foremost, the Jubilee concept is actually biblical. That's where the terminology stems from. And it has everything to do with a cycle that continues to repeat itself over time. And it's actually built off of the Hebrew calendar through Judaism, which is where you get the Old Testament. And this is a cycle of 7 years multiplied by 7 cycles. So you have on 49 years, or 7 cycles of 7 Shemitah years, you have on the 50th year, you practice what's called biblical Jubilee. And we're there. So the last time we were in this was back in the early 1970s. It was during the Nixon shock and what happened with everything that went down there, moving into the 1973 to 1975 recession. And what's
Wow.
special about this idea is, well, you're well aware through your work, but for anyone who's newer to this conversation, a Shemitah year, you typically have your bull run cycle top, which then leads to a devastating correction. And you typically see a bottom in the cycle exactly 1 year after the end of that Shemitah. So, what that
Okay.
means in plain English, you would have September 2022 was the end. And then 1 year after would be September 2023, which we're just a couple of weeks away from,
Mhm.
would be your 1 year after. And it's not exactly to the day. What you have is just a phase of energy where you have some contraction. You typically see some economic destabilization, instability, perhaps even, change of power in some circumstances. Like we're talking about, we have hundreds of years of financial data to really absorb here. We're not just talking about the last 10 to 15 years of crypto. We're actually
Yeah.
looking at the broader picture, which is necessary to actually understand what's going on in the crypto realm. And I believe we're all well aware that what happened with the SEC against Ripple and ruling of XRP being deemed non-security, it happened perfectly at this time. So we're also at the BRICS conference right now, 15th
Yep.
annual BRICS summit, literally going on as we speak. We have so much to discuss here regarding what's been the setup. I believe Jerome Powell will be speaking this Friday from Jackson Hole. Then we have
Yep.
September, another FOMC meeting. So there's so much exoteric stuff to talk about. There's so much news, but
Yeah.
where I stand on my research of going into it a little bit deeper is it seems like we have a overextended market. It needs to give up some of these gains. And
Mhm.
I believe that there's no better time than what we historically see, which is in the fall time. So we have September, October, and
Okay.
then from the esoteric perspective, we have the fact that it is the Jubilee. So,
Mm.
what does the Jubilee mean to me? It means that we've been in a very happy time frame for the past 7, 8 months in the market. We've watched
Yep.
the Nasdaq go all the way up to almost prior all-time highs. This is insanity, but this is also a pre-election year.
Yep.
So we're about to come back to reality. And in my opinion, well, first of all, let's start with the facts. A jubilee is a positive thing. It's considered to be when you would return stolen lands, you would end wars, you would come to agreements of peace, you would have happy things go down. Like actually, if you were enslaved, you would be released from your slavery. If you were imprisoned, you'd be released from your sentence. This was all being practiced biblically, like in their
Wow.
prior system. So we live in a modern age now, internet, all these modern luxuries. You're well aware that this concept of jubilee is going to be practiced slightly differently, but all of what happens in this world has to come back to finances. It all comes back to money. So
Mm.
we are in a happy time frame. It's obvious that we're in a jubilee, but when that's over, which will be on the date of September 17th, then we
Mm.
are most likely coming back to reality. And it could be starting as of a couple weeks ago when the markets seemed to sort of top out. And now
Mhm.
we're watching some red candles. So it just means that buying opportunities are incoming. And
Mhm.
we could have a little bullish energy for the next couple weeks, a little bit, or just hold these levels. But ultimately, like I think in the latter half of September into the month of October, it will be a correction.
Okay, so let's say, can I ask you a question around so esoteric and did you say exoteric? Is that what you called it?
Correct. So esoteric
Well,
would be hidden, and exoteric would be what is already revealed and aware of by the
oh,
world, by the masses.
okay, yeah, I didn't. I just learned something new. That's awesome. I understand esoteric, but exoteric. So can we talk about the esoteric and things happening that a lot of people deem as weird or like energy frequency, right? So a lot of people within my current paradigm that we coach, business owners, entrepreneurs, people within my life, have had a really, really heavy August. Really heavy August. I know we're going through a scaling process right now. A lot of business stuff. I had a couple of businesses supposed to launch, and just chaos. And so, in your opinion, what is happening with the energy frequency field as we transition? Like, you brought up the exoteric, right? You have the BRICS are meeting right now. We had the Fed
Right.
Now services came out in July. We had all these things happening, but also too, like backing up. do they prepare for the, for example, and so I'll give you my timeline and perception. I would love to hear
Mhm.
your feedback on this. So 2009, BRICS was created: Brazil, India, Russia, China, South Africa. You had creation of Bitcoin. 2012, the FOMC was created about non-bank financial institutions. You also had the bank bailing committees were created. Was that 7 or 12 years ago? 2012. And then basically Obama created the rescue plan, which turned the printing machine on full blast. And it seems like they were setting us up for this moment in time because of non-bank financial institutions, which would be crypto, all the things outside of
Mhm.
the centralized system. And then FedNow Services launches, right? We were raising interest rates through the roof, destroying the general public. And then America gets downgraded from AAA to AA plus, and now they're downgrading regional banks. And now we're seeing the stuff happening with China, with Evergrande filing for bankruptcy, and then the shadow bank is now being exposed. That there's like 1 trillion or $1 trillion in yuan that are about to go sideways. So like, is that part of all this? Is it all playing out because of the Jubilee, because of the frequency field? Like, what is the
That's
esoteric part of
correct.
that? Okay.
That's correct. Yeah, I mean, when you look into just old quotes from the OGs who kind of built out the infrastructure of our world, like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, Sachs, you know,
Yeah.
these are people that were deeply into the occult, and they were very vocal about their awareness of astrology and how important it
Mm.
is in financial markets. So they weren't quiet about it. We just didn't really give much attention to it, and a lot of people just play it off as some tinfoil hat stuff. And in actuality, it's the truth of truths, and it's very much in the realms of why we act the way we act and why we have the personalities that we have and the way
Yeah.
that we just maneuver about this matrix. So, needless to say, I'm not here to convince anyone of the esoteric. This is always a
Mhm.
self-seeking event and journey.
Yeah.
Like you must go through the process on your own. But I'll share what's going on. It's a blue moon right now.
Mhm.
So we have 2 full moons in the same month. This is very important. In my work, I've actually done my due diligence in 2 separate podcasts to track every single blue moon for Bitcoin since the genesis of Bitcoin. And then I went back and did every blue moon chart analysis on the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq back to the dot-com bubble. And I found
Wow.
all the data that was necessary for me to kind of have a well-rounded outlook on this month of August and what's most likely to go down. Then lately in my recent podcast that I've done over on my Patreon was about the pre-election year and a potential black swan event, and kind of just taking in all this data. But it's twofold. It's one, we're in a Jubilee year. Two, we're in that blue moon. And then if I had to add something else into it, I think that there's multiple forms of astrology, right? Typically, what people get into when they do astrology is called tropical astrology. That's what most people believe in. Now,
Okay.
then you also have Vedic astrology or sidereal astrology. Now,
Mm.
what I found, and this is something that I revealed weeks ago. So, anyone who follows my work deeply, you know that I was calling for a flash crash event on either the 16th, 17th, or 18th of August. We literally got a flash crash, and we've seen it
Mm.
happen before in the charts for Bitcoin. And if we go back to August of 2012, you'll see that August 2012 for Bitcoin, we had a blue moon in the month of August. And then we had a major flash correction into the 17th, 18th, and 19th of August. Okay.
Wow.
And this has happened a couple other iterations. People could watch my last YouTube video if they want to be filled in on that. So to not waste any time,
Yeah.
what I find to be so interesting about the 17th of August, and this would not be considered in tropical astrology, but in sidereal astrology, we're moving from the Cancer sign to Leo. We move from Cancer to Leo on August 16th through August 18th. Now, that's really powerful because in the occult, if you look at the royal arc, you're going to see that the sign of Cancer is the capstone. That means that it holds the whole structure together. Okay.
Mm.
Now, when we start to move into the next sign, we're now transitioning through a key energy point. These are the 2 pillars that are holding together the capstone. You would have the one on the left being Gemini, and then you'd have the one on the right being Leo, the sun, the lion, Lion of Judah. This is really important knowledge, and it would not be aware to the people who just study typical tropical astrology. But when I find that exact date time frame to be so consistent in flash
Mm.
crashes, and remember, Bitcoin is literally the sun. That's all it really is. It's the power plant of the market. So I'm like, holy shit, bro. Like, this is one of the most mind-blowing
Mm.
finds in crypto history. And we could start to utilize this gnosis and be
Mm.
well prepared for big events to occur. But I don't want to get too, down too many separate rabbit holes to stay on track here. I do have a firm belief that this market is actually running on sidereal, not the tropical system.
Mm.
So you could actually compare sidereal to what we would call astronomy, which is the actual observance of the cosmos, of the stars. The issue that I have with a lot of tropical astrologers is they've never used a telescope. And if they
Mm.
were to, they would see that there is consistent flaws in what they believe the sun is moving into these signs. So sidereal is where it's at. I'm not here to say that tropical is wrong because I think tropical does serve a purpose for the matrix, for like the people who are at like level 1 in this game of consciousness. But as you
Mhm.
expand consciously, you're going to start to find this Vedic sidereal astrology to have much more merit, especially if you're going to get into financials, because that's
Yeah.
what I believe the market maker is utilizing. I do not believe they're utilizing tropical. I believe they're utilizing sidereal.
Yeah, I want to dive into this. I would love to go down this rabbit hole. So we talked about financial. So one of the biggest things is you talked about expanding consciousness. Like, what does expanding consciousness mean to you? And I'll share what I think it means to me.
Expanding consciousness is a process of embracing pain.
Mm. I love it. Oh, did we lose you?
No, that's all I have to
Oh, there
say.
you go. Oh, okay, good. I love that. Was like boom. I love it. That one. Okay, so yeah, and my perception of
For
expanding my
instance, JV,
yeah.
we've talked about this so many times together. It's when you have trauma,
Yep.
you're only able to expand consciously if you have forgiveness and
Yes.
have gratitude, but
Yeah.
it's only through what was once painful. So once you accept the pain and become best friends with your pain, now you mine consciousness.
Yes.
This is the verb
Yes.
here. Like as if you mine gold, you're able
Hmm.
to mine consciousness. You want to know what the most valuable currency of all time is? It's consciousness.
Yes.
Because without higher
Yeah.
consciousness, it's going to be difficult to love unconditionally.
Hmm.
It's also going to be difficult to apply your attention optimally. You'll be easily distracted. You will
Yep.
spend your attention in all the wrong places. But as you learn how to embrace pain and start to feel again instead of just numb everything, then you
Hmm.
will start to unconditionally love more. You will have more clarity in your thoughts and in your behavior. You will self correct when you start to get off the rails. You'll take personal responsibility and stop playing the victim, stop playing the blame game. And there you go. So I believe that the
Yep.
concept that's behind what I call expanding consciousness is just learning how to love the pain. It's a
Yes.
teacher.
Yes. That in my definition of is transmuting chaos into light. That's what I love because that's one thing that why I wanted to hear that because as we speak to everybody here, it's important to understand and around what is happening is going to look painful. It's going to look dark. Stock markets are going to come down. People's jobs may be let go, right? And in order to expand your consciousness, which they don't want you to do because you can control your thoughts, your actions, and your emotions and how you react to things, right? So if they can control your reaction, they stop you from expanding your consciousness. And we think that that it's an outside in effect from the chaotic things happening, right? But if you can take that chaos and transmute it into light. And when people ask me, well, how did you get to where you're at, JB? That's what I keep doing. We just had a conversation before I got on here, like transmuting chaos into light. So I had a crazy August and I've taken that chaos, I put it up on the cross, I bronze it, and I lean into it as hard as I can. And so the reason why I wanted to ask you that question, I mean, that was powerful. Just even the pause, it was like pain. Like the family, this pain that we're about to experience could be a catalyst for your transformation financially, spiritually. And that's what I hope people will get from us is that it is really your actions, your behaviors, your thought process on what's happening. And let's walk through that. Like, what are you doing currently right now? As you know, with your community and what you're doing personally, as you see this
Mhm.
chaos, like you can see a freight train coming, like, what are you doing?
That's a great question. You know, it's really funny you asked this because I don't make videos that have a specific subject matter. Like, you know how people make a video like 5 cryptos to invest in 2024 or something like that. Like,
Really?
and I've actually thought I don't really do those. And but I did think of making a video soon, and maybe people could let me know if are interested in the idea. But it was how to prepare for 2024.
Yep.
And of course, I'm going to come at it from something that's more than just financial, but there are some
Mhm.
definite financial things. And I feel like I touched on that often enough in my work, but just to give like a layout of how I'm doing it. So it's funny because I brought this up to myself this morning and here you are asking me this question. So it's so synchronized, but
Synergy.
needless to say, I mean, this is going to be tough for some people because not everyone is flexible or mobile. A lot of people do own homes. They do have children. They do have
Mm.
these commitments to their jobs
Yep.
or their commitment to bringing their kids to school or whatever. Like, you know, school's about to get started soon. So, like, I just want people to know that I'm not like here to say that it's better to be this nomadic on the run kind of like cowboy. I
Mhm.
understand that everyone has their own thing going on.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to impose my version of life as the practical or perfect for you. Like, I just know
Yep.
my flow state. It's a very big reason, and this lays out the groundwork. I'm not a prepper. Some
Me
people are
neither.
really adamant about being a prepper, like having food storage and having all this. And I personally don't have that's not my flow state.
Right.
Like, I am able to get through the times with my just my essence, and I know how to fast. I know how to go 5
Mhm.
days, 6 days without eating. I know how to go 27 days with just drinking juice or just drinking like, I could do it. I'm not worried. And if you're somebody who's worried or has that type of fear, then it might be hard for you to, like, you know, get through anything in life until you've learned how to embrace a moment of scarcity. And what's
Mhm.
crazy about this world today is we don't put in much effort to get all the things we want. We get to live like kings and queens with little production and little creative essence. I mean,
Yeah.
we used to have to pull vegetables out of the ground to cook lunch, but now today I could just order a hot meal on Uber Eats and it shows up on my doorstep.
Yep.
So we're putting in because of these technological luxuries in this technocratic world order, we're putting in very little effort to get a
Yep.
massive amount of result or return.
Yep.
And that's not the safest place to be because
Mhm.
that also bleeds into the way we invest. We see that the
Yes.
average person tends to invest emotionally. They think they could put very little in and get these insane returns, and they don't want to put in any hard work. They don't want to learn a skill. They want to leverage on whatever YouTubers or Twitter accounts are out there. And it's all sensationalized and it's based on
Mhm.
nonsense. It's based on
Yep.
basically evoking emotion out of people and taking
Yep.
advantage of them. So it's funny when people come across my work, they're like really like, "Oh, damn, he's making me work for this," you know? Like he's making me sweat for this knowledge, and like I'm
Yep.
very transparent and I'm very straightforward, but I think if we don't have this foundation, then it doesn't matter what Waters Above is
Yep.
doing, you know, because you're just going to be given the information, you're going to squander it. That's what's the beauty about seeking wisdom is you go through a process of hell to reach heaven.
Mhm.
So I just want to say that I think that there is no perfect way to prepare, and that's kind
Yes.
of that's the most unsexy answer anyone could possibly be given. I can't say that gold is a good investment right now. I can't say that getting investing in a house is the best. I mean, I hear real estate agents right now screaming on like from the top of their lungs about how now is the best time to buy a house. I'm like, geez, this is such a guarantee type of attitude that that's exactly how people act before a collapse. So
Mhm. Yeah.
here's the thing, Emily, like
Love
don't let anything sensationalize you right now. Like get very stoic, get very
Yep.
like still and calm in the way that you consume. Now, when it comes to the way you create and the actions you put in, sweat a little, you know, sweat a little, and
Yes.
then that effort will bring you your truths. That's what it did for me. That's what it does for all the clients I have. And that's what's transformed my whole life is to not look for
Yep.
easy wins and this get rich quick nonsense. Like it's to really just put in some fucking work. So
Yeah.
I think health is wealth. And
Mhm.
if you're in poor health right now, I don't give a fuck about your finances.
Mhm.
I think your finances are irrelevant. Get healthy, like right now. Like people need
Yep.
to start taking care of their bodies. Um, That's been the biggest thing that people who start to accumulate wealth start to disregard, and
Yes.
that's a common theme. So please, family, if you're gonna get rich in consciousness and get rich in health, and then all the other things take care of it of itself. But
Mm.
what are you doing to prepare, man? I know you have
Oh,
so many ventures going on, so much,
yeah.
and I would love to know some of your thoughts.
Yeah, great question. So I fully in agreement with everything you said, and I love that's what I love about you, man. It's like you're not saying follow Waters Above or follow Coach JV. So I have a very different paradigm, right? I have two children. You know, one's an adult. My daughter, but she lives with me. I take my son to school. I pick him up. I have quite a few companies. So mine is exactly the same as yours. It's focusing on my. So what I've done is I've committed my life to working harder on myself than I do anything else, and I allow everything to flow to me, to include businesses, opportunities, relationships. Everything in my life is an inside out effect. So what I've been working on is increasing my magnetism. And so I'll be specific about what I do. So my HIIT training, sauna, I saw sauna in the comments here. I spend 45 minutes in the sauna. I spend a minimum of 2 hours a day in deep meditation around the word, whatever it is, and I allow it to be revealed to me. Like, you said it, that make the pathway to the light difficult, so the weary and weak will not find it. We always say too in the academy, freedom is not free. It's discipline, consistency done for a long enough period of time, which gives you access to new information, which moves you across a time space reality, right? And so it's like, so what I'm doing is I'm working to move through time space reality by transmuting any chaos within my life. Same thing that you said is I don't prep, I prepare in my mind. I create my next day through my actions and behaviors today. So what I've been working on is really my ascension process. And when I say that, people, whatever esoteric, but I'm working on getting the hidden knowledge revealed to me through my works, actions, and behaviors. And the more that I study, the more that I fast, the more that I spend time in the sauna, the more that I smile, and the more that I spend time in the sun, the more that I spend time in unconditional love with my kids, everything seems to be working out for me. Businesses, freedom, family structure. And one thing that I think is important too that I'll share with people that's outside of what you talked about is what I define as principles. I have principles that I stand on. So for family, it's peace, freedom, and family structure. For business, it's integrity, honesty, and uncompromising belief in God. So somebody said something to me about a year ago, an influencer, a big influencer. They were like, "Hey, listen, JB, I came back from Peru. They said, you need to stop talking about God. It's going to ruin your business." I said, "It's none of my fucking business. If it ruins my business, it's not mine." And they were like, "Oh, well, you talk about," I said, "Let me share with you my principles: integrity, honesty, and uncompromising belief in God. I will speak about God. I'll put my prayers wherever I want, when I want, how I want. I will speak my truth." And then peace, freedom, and family structure for me. Anything disrupts my peace, freedom, or family structure, it's not for me. You can offer me $1 billion. If I have to be on a meeting past 2 p.m., this may sound weird to people. I know everybody sells this grind culture. You got to grind. If you're grinding 19 hours a day and you're
Yeah.
bragging about how hard you work, then you are doing it completely incorrectly. I'm speaking from experience. This is not judgment. I used to sell a grind
Facts.
culture to everybody. I work till 2 o'clock every day, and I'm off with my kids, man. I don't care if you offer me $1 billion. I will not do a business if the meeting has to be at 5 o'clock. I just won't do it because my peace, freedom, and family structure is important. And so through that process, I found true freedom. It doesn't matter what the crypto market does. It doesn't matter what my insurance company does. It doesn't matter what all these companies I launched does. What I found, Waters, is, and this is through, getting to know you and having high frequency men in my life, is that I finally get it. And this is why I love having these conversations with you, because as you talk, you teach and learn, right? Or you talk, you learn. And it's like I understand what the secret, Rhonda Bryan, it's a magnetism. I become a magnet, and I'm magnetizing and pulling life through me. In my life, I feel like I'm in a freaking time warp, dude. I'm not attached to time anymore. I don't even know what day it is. Like, I don't know what Saturday is. I don't know what Sunday is. I don't know what Monday is. And like this stuff, these conversations, being around high frequency people, creating my own ecosystems where I could say, that works for me, or no, that doesn't work for me. It's not in alignment. I'm vibrating this way. If you want to come with me, come with me. If not, no big deal, right? You're in the old timeline. It's something that, what is a good judgment of this for me if I'm moving through the time space realities? I often hear, it seems like it's weird. It's like every first quarter of the year, somebody from my old paradigm will come to me and say, JV, you've changed so much. And I always go to them. I always say, maybe it's that you haven't. Not good, bad, or indifferent. It just means I'm in a different field than you, right? And they're doing assumptive perception on what I'm doing. Oh, you're all about money now. Okay. Okay. What am I so okay? Like, I don't even know what to do. You know, you don't wake up with me in the morning. You don't go to bed with me at night. You don't know what I do with my money or traveling.
Yeah,
But
you're
that's what I
not
love
feeding
about
my children.
yeah, and I think that's what I love about this. I guess what I'm trying to say with this is I've become a full student of life. And the thing that I've worked on Waters is to be really specific about it. I had a real problem, just being honest with you, with judgment. That was what I had to master in myself. And you know what got revealed to me over the last year? I finally stopped judging other people. I started pulling the log on my eye. That I have a lot of self-doubt, man. It was like, holy shit. When I got rid of judgment, my judgment was a projection of the fact that I doubted myself. So I'd
Mm,
project on other people when I was in groups of people or people talking to me. I'd point out other people or say things about it. I'm like, and then when I finally mastered it, guess who was looking in the mirror? Me. It's like, you don't even believe in yourself, dude. And so now what
yeah.
I'm working to do is to transmute that. And so like how I do that is, I'm like, I am powerful that I am. I'm really diving into I love what you said, the esoteric and I'm doing that by when people question me, I look at I dive into the origin of what they're questioning me with. So, like for example, I put my prayers on Twitter every day, and because here's why I do that. I'll share with people. It's my Twitter. They document or they archive all our tweets. So I imagine in a world, and all my social media is an expression of what I'm studying. That's it. So I take my social media and I project what I do on a daily basis. That's why I don't comb my hair. I just, went swimming this morning. I don't do anything for anybody to prepare anything, if that makes sense. And so it's an expression of me. And, I put my prayers out there, and I'd love to hear your insight on this. I love this. And people always come back with doctrine, right? They go to Google real quick and pull out a Bible verse and put it on there to push back on me. So I
Mm.
said to one guy one time, it was very literal. He said, pray in your closet. I said, then enslave your daughter. He was like, excuse me? I said, then enslave your daughter. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, well, you're taking it super literal. Like I have to go in and pray in my closet. But in some of the Bible verses says you can enslave your daughter. And I said, so understand your doctrine and that's what I love about you, is you go to the root of what you're learning. Like Waters doesn't hear something and go, oh, I'm going to go preach this and parrot this to everybody. He says, what is the root of that doctrine? Where is that coming from? Without judgment, right? It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, maybe I should pray in my closet, but I don't feel like praying in my closet. And if I go to the pearly gates and God strikes me down with lightning because I did it incorrectly, then that's my relationship with God. Right. So I just wanted to, yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. And it's just such an interesting thing about that. That's what I'm going through personally right now is I'm questioning everything, knowing that I know nothing. I guess that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
um,
Well, I think that's really fascinating that you shared like a couple of those breakthroughs because I think that really resonates with people what you said about
mm,
judgment and self-doubt. And also like you figure out in life that once you're serving your purpose, you start to kind of just walk around with less fucks to give about other
yeah.
people's doubt of you,
Yes.
right? So, but one thing to play around with the words for a moment, judgment, if you just look at the word judge and then break it
Mm,
up with meant,
right.
meant is menti or mentis. Mente, it means mind. So
Oh shit.
judge is justice. This comes back to the scales of justice, Libra. This comes back also to Jupiter. He's the masculine side of justice, of law. And when you think about what this is all of your mind, and your mind
Mm,
plays tricks on you, right? This is why it's called matrix, tricks of the mind. So I think it's important that we look into the etymology and we consider the words we speak or the spells we cast. And you're
mm,
spot on. You made a realization. Maybe you didn't even mean to do it in this fashion, but that's the that's the beauty
mm,
of consciousness and what's going on
yeah.
in the subconscious realms. So judge mind, and you become aware over time that like your mind is a tool. It doesn't need to be
Mm,
a weapon that's formed against you, but it tends to be a weapon for most. And the mind is not a bad thing. A lot of people when they get into meditation, they start to get taught this kind of really odd concept that the mind is bad, and like when you're in your mind somehow you're causing issues. And I want to remind people that the mind is the tool of your creative essence. Just here's the practice.
mm,
You calm your mind so that your
yeah.
heart can sing, and then your mind will start to dance.
Yes. Wow.
but your mind can never dance
It's beautiful.
until there's music or singing. So it's this
Right.
moment of
Mm,
like, it's a three-step process. You calm the mind, let your heart sing, then your mind will begin to dance. And that will be playful,
mm.
like a child's mind. As
Yeah.
an
And
adult, you are never calm in your mind. You're never in your heart. You're
right.
always in judgment. You're always in tomorrow and yesterday. You're always in
Mhm.
this trauma, like, cycle, and you're always in this worry of what's next. So I
Mm.
think this is a simple practice for people. I believe it's 10x more effective than meditation. And if you like meditation, just considering this three-step process will be even more powerful for your meditations.
It's amazing. Yeah, so I was writing notes during that one, like the judgment part of it, because what I realized too is like the judgment, like so when I would respond, so like what you said, my mind, right? I took control of my mind. I control my thoughts as was, things I think. I got really disciplined with my activities and behaviors. And then I started to control my emotions, which is a reaction of what people say to me, right? And by controlling my reactions of what people say to me, I'm able to hear them better, even in their judgment. And what that's done is I have much stronger relationships. It's also magnetized to me to people that will help me move through time space faster. And I want to talk to you about time, if you don't mind. One of the biggest things
Of
that
course.
I've experienced over the past, specifically probably 4 years, since I finally broke free from first I started master my mind, and then I started to say, okay, where do I want to go? And then I got, in this last year has been my biggest growth period ever. So like, and I'll be very specific. Like, so basically what I do is every single morning I close my eyes and I sit in the field. I do my Christ conscious meditation, then I sit in the field of it already completed. And what I'm experiencing right now is what I felt and embodied 6 months ago. Like, I'm living it right now. I just got off meetings around it. I felt it, I embodied it. And what I find is new opportunities are coming. It's sacral. It's and I'm moving through time so fast. It's like, it seems like 2023. It's like, holy crap, I was just in 2020, dude, on my parents' couch. The difference between 2020 and 2023, about 4 years ago, is 2019. I was on their couch, is because what I did is, because of the chaos, like, this is really important what you talked about, because of the pain that I was put into. Now I get it. I took that pain and I moved it into activities, feeling, vibration, what I can do, not what I can't do, not I'm
Mhm.
able to, not can't. And then I started to transmute it. And then I went fully fucking authentic, like brutally authentic. Hey, I'm on my parents' couch, make fun of me, whatever. Here's what I'm going to do. And it's each year it gets faster and faster and
Mhm.
faster. And I don't understand time anymore, man.
Well, there's so much to say to that. I mean, first and foremost, you get it. Like, that's pure transmutation. It's to take the pain and convert it into something that's a bountiful resource that could be utilized to make so much good in the world. But this also is kind of the idea behind alchemy. You've heard of the term, or this concept, this saying, this quote, from lead to gold, right?
Yep.
So in my expansion mastermind course, I talk about from lead to gold in a completely different way. And I think you'll really resonate with this. I believe you especially will resonate with this. Lead is also spelled the same way we spell lead. So what I say is, to go from lead to gold, you actually lead to gold. You are a leader. It's leadership. And leadership is always through respect and through loyalty.
Hmm.
And you could only garner respect from people by being authentic. And you could also only garner respect from people if you're in the field with them, if you actually bring them into that field and you embrace the pain with them. Like, if one man jumps into a ice bath and he gets
Hmm.
out in 5 seconds and he's shivering and he's like, "Oh, I can never do that again." But then the next man who isn't afraid, has no fear, goes in and stays for a full minute and gets out calmly, doesn't even shiver. He's going to motivate every fucking set of eyes that was on
Hmm.
him. And watch, when they get all in that ice bath next, they're going to be able to all do it much, much longer, because
Hmm.
one of them was a leader.
Right.
How did they lead? By embracing the pain and showing people, I could fucking do this. And it's all in your head. Leadership is always through the mastermind, right? So you lead to gold. And the beauty about the word gold is it's broken into two concepts. You have the G. The G always gets separated because that could be God, that could be higher power, that could be gnosis, that could be generative principle, whatever you believe. And then old. And old is time, old is decay, old is rot. Okay. So gold is that it's that two concepts brought together. You separate them. And this is what's happening to most people. They're becoming old. They're just aging. They're just decaying through life because they have no creative essence and all they do is consume. As you consume, any form of consumption decays you. So what's really fascinating about taking this concept, lead to gold, is you believe it's gnosis. It's not about becoming old. It's about becoming wise. And the big difference between information or knowledge and wisdom is data or applied data. It's just knowledge of information or applying that knowledge. And the beautiful thing about wise people is they can be calm and still and silent and apply knowledge. People that are information, like the data heads, the bookworms, all they're able to do is focus on accumulating more information.
Yeah.
But you become a hoarder of information and then you have very little utility. The wise man never even needs to speak about what he knows. He just leads.
Just knows.
So that's what you are, man. That's what you've shown. And the more authentic you are in the process, the more people relate. So there's this beauty and dance to it all. But I believe what people feel in you and what people feel in me is I'm willing to walk through hell. And I'll show you that I'm not scared of shit. And the one thing I believe that really aligns me and you is not necessarily what you were saying before about God, but about what you reacted to someone who was saying how you felt about God. And it's kind of this essence of, and I'm speaking for myself right now because I've gone through this a million times. Somebody doubts me, somebody questions me or doubts me. And now I get motivated to be like, the thing that you believed would be my downfall, I'm going to prove to you how it's going to make me expand even more. It's almost like a fuck you in a way. And I know that's my ego. I've accepted that is your ego doing that.
Yep.
And if people want to believe that ego is a bad thing, it's time to wake up. Ego is a fucking motivator. It's an inspiration. And it happened to me when I was younger in school. I'll just share one example and we can move on. But in school, we were told to stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. Now, I get it, family. Some of you are going to probably get offended by this because you're thinking like, whatever, but like, hear me out. I did the deep work to go study what was really going on in this world, what the military was all about, which is protecting your Federal Reserve System and your central banking cabal. That's all military is actually about. I know it's really tough to swallow, but people need to learn this truth. Every single world war was always at the direct order of central bankers. And they maintained and they're still occupying these places because of maintenancing this changeover into that world reserve currency called the US dollar. But anywho, I learned about all this stuff. And I'm saying to myself, how could these people who go out into these wars also call themselves Christians or call themselves godly people when in the 10 commandments it says thou shalt not kill? But the whole concept of war is to go fucking murder people and say that I'm protecting my people by killing your people, which last time I checked, God doesn't pick peoples because of their religion, their sex, their how much money they have in their bank account. God is all knowing, all loving, all everything. God is all. God is literally the all. So I had a problem with this even as a child. And of course, I can't articulate this to a fucking teacher. So I'm sitting in that chair and everyone around me standing and pledging allegiance to this flag. That's a flag that all I see is a piece of cloth soaked in blood. That's all I see. I don't see freedom. I see the confiscation of people's lands. I see the rape and torture of people. I see pillaging. I see death. I see destruction. I see control. I see dominion over others and the belief that we're more important than you. This is what I see. And I can never unsee that. So If anyone's the most godly in the room, it's the person that's able to realize that you guys are representing something that you don't even know about.
Hmm.
You have no idea what this flag even means. So I would never stand for that flag. And people got really pissed at me. And it was like the more pissed they got, the more happy that I got. Like the more like powerful and strong I got because I believed in my truth. I owned up to it. And that's all that matters. Whether you believe in a God, whether you believe in Allah, or you believe in Jesus, or you believe in Krishna, or
Mhm,
whatever,
mhm.
as long as you feel it and you own up to it and you own it, and of course you're open-minded and flexible enough to accept the wisdom from other people's, then that's the building blocks of a great man.
Mhm.
It's not about
Yeah.
your commitment to one thing. It's about your ability to be malleable and flexible to the brilliance and the beauty of the world that surrounds you, and not be so stagnant when new truth is revealed to you.
Mm. That's what I've been talking to a lot of people about. I said, President Trump's not coming to save you guys. I hate to break it to you. DeSantis isn't coming to save you guys. It's like it's your actions, your behaviors right now after you walk off this video or podcast, whatever you want to call it. It's like it's what you're going to do with your mind, with your actions, your behavior, your conscience. And it goes back into what we were talking about, right? It was what I was saying is like study the origin of things. Like that's exactly what I was talking about. What is the origin? And so that's what I'm doing. I'm going deep into origin, forming my own opinion and living my life based on how I feel versus how somebody wants me to feel. Right. And what I do is I do my financial decisions based on, I don't watch charts. I know you get a lot of people do charts and stuff. Like for me, it's like I understand macro and microeconomics at a deep level. And I went backwards. I understood macroeconomics and I went down. I met people like you and I'm like, whoa. And then what I did see is that everything is interconnected. One is connected to the all, like it's all connected. Every action has equal or lesser reaction. And it's like, and if there was this elite group of people controlling the system, what would I control? Your emotions, your reactions. And I'd move you any way I want. I would get you fearful. I'd get you pissed off. I would bring your stocks up and then I'd crush your financial. And I wouldn't even get you enough time to pay attention. I'd make you trade time for money so that when you go home, you would spend the rest of your time watching a reality show and then going and buying alcohol and then lowering your frequency even more. I would radically disconnect you from your ether. I would mess up all your programming. I'd make sure you think that your experiences are your narrative, and I'd get you to repeat them over and over and over again. I wouldn't teach you, but you could assume yourself into the next reality where I could be like, I assume that I'm a billionaire. That's already done. I put up a tweet yesterday. I was and we do subconscious mind programming in my house. We play this stuff in my house, these videos, which it's like every night I sleep, I play it. And my son, I said, so we talk a lot about, I talk openly about finances with my kids and, stuff. My daughter's an investor. And my dad goes, well, we said something. He goes, Dad, aren't we billionaires? I said, absolutely. Absolutely. There was no hesitation. I was like, absolutely we are. He's like, oh, okay. It's that thing, begin in the kingdom of heavens, be like this lowly child. Like to me, what I'm experiencing, and it could be people can, whatever your truth is, like I'm pulling life to me. I'm magnetizing it to me. To me, that's a secret. I've done things. I've done more in the last 4 years than I've done in my whole lifetime by understanding how magnetism works. If that makes any sense at all. I stopped
Absolutely.
waiting for a savior. I believe in Christ, but maybe in a different way than people believe. I believe in, the body of Christ. One thing I wanted to ask you a question about. I was going to tweet this, but I was like, man, this is one that I paused on. It's still in my draft. So, because I think all the time. And guys, just so you know, I'm a baby in diapers when it comes to this type of stuff. But I study sacred secretion quite a bit. I practice, I practice sacred secretion on a monthly basis. And
Okay.
when I looked at gold, if you take out the L, it's God, right? It's like the golden oil, right? Is sacred secretion. Is there any connection to that? Just something that came up in my head.
Yes. So, I mean, I don't know how much you've explained this to your audience or how much you're aware, but this is an alchemical process that's happening inside of the human body and our physiology every single month. And it's coded through the Bible. And a lot of people are completely unaware of this. And actually, JV, this is very much to the Jesus character that you've been studying, and everything from his age to the things he would do. And again, like it's kind of proving that it's just an esoteric concept and that you are the body of Christ. It's that you as the individual are the body, and that you connect to God as if God was like the internet of things. And in order to connect to God, or the information vacuum of everything, you need an Ethernet cable, right?
Yes.
And this Ethernet cable is, it could be whatever you want to close your eyes and imagine, but it's just like a computer. Like, we are in a simulacrum, we're in a matrix, and in order to like so-called hack this matrix, you need to learn the body. And you actually need to learn how to keep your spirit in this body without it leaving and astrally projecting into all of these other faculties. So what I mean by that is, when you judge somebody, JV, you know what you're doing? Your spirit is leaving your body. It is
Yes.
astrally projecting out of you. It is leaving you, and then you become possessed. Another thing comes into you and takes over. Most people don't even know this. When you study the word demon, it's just coming back to computer talk. A daemon, it's a tasker. It's not an evil thing. It's something that comes into the system and it runs background tasks. So, anyways, I don't want to get off the rails here. Just to stay on point, this secretion concept,
Yep.
Christ is Christos. Christos is sacred oil. Okay? Christ. And this oil drips from your pineal down through the pons, down your spinal column. Your spinal column is called the River of Jordan. And this spine has 33 vertebrae, just like Jesus died at 33. And this oil makes its way to your sacrum in your root. And there it will then rise up to your solar plexus, your sun, your soul. And then from there, depending on how you're treating yourself, either the mission ends or the mission continues. And what continues this process, where it now rises back up into the pineal, which is the crucifixion, the death, and 3 days of resurrection. It's when the moon and the sun are, well, essentially when the moon is moving through your sun sign at birth. And this is a 2.5 day process. This is in alignment with the 3 days of darkness, and the resurrection, or the phoenix rising from the ashes, is this Christos rising up the spinal column, up the River of Jordan, the 33 vertebrae. And then Jesus dies at 33 for 3 days and then gets resurrected in the pineal. And this activates this consciousness, and it's an alchemical process that happens in the body. So this is a story that we've heard many, many times. And all of these player characters that are involved in this story, like Judas, for instance, are all parts of the body. So this is a teaching that I'm going to be sharing in very deep detail in my upcoming course, The Decoding Mastermind. I'm really excited to get this one out, because I believe that even though this knowledge is already public information, I'm going to show people how it bleeds into all these other nooks and crannies of our reality, and it will make you a better student of the Bible. Because now when you're reading through the Bible, you're going to be able to see the parable. You're going to see the code, and it's going to make you a decoder of the literally the greatest book ever written, which is the Bible.
Yes. Oh my God.
So I believe that's very powerful stuff.
I'm living the truth that you're speaking. I'm practicing the process every 28 days. I go through the process. Someone brought up HemiSync. So you guys go look up the CIA Gateway Project. I practice HemiSync every single night. I have the audio files, and I practice HemiSync, connecting my left and right hemisphere of the brain together. I fast every single day. I sit in the sauna. I do all the things I can do to connect to what I believe is source, which I believe is God. And I fully believe in God. And it's like, what has happened to me is, as I work harder, I use the terms, I work harder on myself than I do anything else. And that is that process. And what happens is the esoteric becomes hidden. And I realize, boom, it's been hidden in plain sight. It's literally right in front of me. And then I just go down that path. Then I go down that path. And it's what I'm realizing, the more, so this is what I want to leave with people with this, is that instead of fighting an invisible enemy, fight the darkness in yourself. Like, start to, like, I brought up the judgment thing, like the judgment. I love that. I did write notes. Judgment, like it's a judgment of my mind. I'm bringing in demons, which makes me lower frequency, which disconnects me from the ether. And I've been talking to my team about ether. And I looked back at my old programming, the things that happened to me as a child, as I had to remove the old chips that were broken in the programming, and then I reprogrammed it with forgiveness. I released, I refreshed my ether, and then from that point on, I've been putting new programming systems into it. And then now I'm becoming magnetism. Now it's starting to become more and more complete, and now I'm starting to see an inside out effect versus this. My life used to look like the stock market. Now it looks more like just a little blip in the system. And I'm able to reconnect back and go, okay, well, I'm eating like shit. No wonder I feel this way. Or I am not sleeping enough, right? Not sleeping enough. Or, hey, I'm not doing my meditation practices. Instead of going out and be like, Trump, Biden, it's like, I don't give a shit what Biden does every day. Like, I don't care. Like it's so interesting and fun to watch. It's entertainment, but it's like, it's such an interesting dynamic, and that's where I feel that my lack of judgment has come from, because as I seek Jordan, I know nothing, dude. Like, as the stuff that's being revealed to me, I'm like, oh, okay, this is crazy. Like, this is wild, and so I stopped judging other people, because I'm like, how can I judge you? Like, I don't even know, man. I don't even know. Other than my life is getting. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
No, let's correct the language here, because you know
Please.
everything.
Okay.
You know it all. You know everything. The thing
I've
that you're
heard that before,
realizing
yes.
is
Yeah.
that you're dumping the nonsense. You're finally taking out the trash, brother. Like, that's
Yeah.
all it is. You fucking know everything. Like, we all, first of all, have everything we need. We have everything we need right now as I speak. You know everything. What's happening is you're just taking out the garbage. Now your house smells better. Like, it's clean
Yep.
again. Like,
Yep.
you've cleaned up
Yep.
the room. When you clean
Yep.
up, you organize. You now get to see where shit is. You get to
Yep.
see the mess that was once, like, disregarded. Now you're just taking some action. So, of course, like, we're brought to this world with nothing alone. We also leave this world with nothing and alone. And in this process, we gather and we accumulate, and we're not given the skills to organize or to take out this trash. If anything, they promote onto us the concepts like multitasking and get as much information as you can. Those two concepts are against what I believe
Wow.
in. I'm anti multitasking. And what I believe multitasking is one of the greatest psyops of all. It's to get you to do many things poorly instead of one thing excellently.
Holy shit, dude. Can I say something with that? I have to. Do you mind if
Absolutely.
I cut you off? Oh, what you just said. Okay, I can't make this shit up. My team can verify this. So my leadership team last year, what we said was we were doing. You've been with me for a while, like talking. We've been talking. We had all these guys bragging. I have 9 companies. Blah 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 blah. That was ego, man. I'm like, look at me, look at me. And my team came to me and said, "What the fuck are we doing, dude? Like, we have all this shit going on." So we said to ourselves, make the main thing the main thing. And ever since we've done that, let go of our ego, we have skyrocketed, because we don't multitask. We focus on we call it needle. All we do in our schedules is stuff that moves the needle forward on the big picture for humanity. That's it. And we don't do all this, meaningless task. We don't do anything that's meaningless anymore. Like, we don't have meetings just to have meetings. And it's like, exactly, we made the main thing, and we do needle moving forward activities. That's it. And that's why maybe that's the awakening for me, is we're moving through time space so fast. Like, we got together for a meeting from Merlin. We're like, it's only been it's been a year, or no, it's been a year, and we fucking developed. We're like, it feels like we did 5 years worth of work in 12 months.
Yeah,
because we made the main thing the main thing.
Yeah. That's it. Be present. Be present with the thing that you're taking action in. If you do a bunch of things simultaneously, it's going to be subpar quality output. You want to focus on one thing to have a maximum optimal, output. But yeah, like, I mean, it's pretty amazing how we're always told these ideas. Like, I shared those 2 thoughts, that I'm against this idea of multitasking as this virtuous quality. And I'm also against this idea of acquiring a bunch of information. My technique is every day I learn 2 things, and only 2 things. And if somebody tries bringing more stuff to me, I set a boundary and I say no.
Good for you.
I limit myself to 2 pieces of knowledge every day, and during that day, that's all I take action towards. I like this concept of, like, we don't want to move to our target, we want to take action from our target. So every day I acquire 2 pieces of knowledge, 2 pieces of information, and I turn it into wisdom that day. Now, what I used to do and what most people do is they multitask. They have 100 tabs open. They're trying to study 16 things at once. They're learning about 5% of each thing. They don't apply any of it by the end of the day because they've just been consume, consume, consume. They have no
Mhm.
boundaries on the information that they take in. Therefore, they're never able to apply the information that they've taken in. And it's like storing in the gut. It never has the chance to evacuate, and you just get more and more obese with information. The belly gets bigger and bigger and
Mhm.
bloated. Okay. The way that I like to do it is just 2 pieces. It's my rule of 2s. I teach this also in my expansion mastermind course. Anyone who's gone through these modules has become 10x more efficient, not only in their learning capabilities, but
Mm.
in their ability to take action on what they've acquired. And now their moving of the needle, as you say it, is moving
Yep.
rapidly, as opposed to before it was just stagnant. Or they were doing one actionable thing and then 2 days later, they were back 2 steps. The take one step forward, 2 steps back approach. So these are all, again, like, these are things that are taught in the modern institutions in our scholastic system, and it's built
Yep.
to decay you. It's built to make you confused,
Mm.
distracted, and a consumer, and not an action taker. So you brought up something, a couple of things that I mean, dude, I wish I could talk with you for like another hour, but
That'd be awesome.
you were clearly a very, very disciplined person, and you clearly have learned how to set these boundaries. And
Mhm.
it seems like your ego is very healthy, and you're gonna do amazing things, man. Like, I've
Mm.
already told you, like, just
Mhm.
in the couple of years that I've known you, I can't really name anyone that's been more impressive in their growth and
Mm.
holding on to their values and their ethics along the way. And
Oh,
first
thank you.
thing that me and you had a conversation about is, if you won't let me be real, I will never talk to you. And
Mhm.
the first conversation we had, you just
Yeah.
let me go.
Yeah.
And I really respect that. And of course, I would reciprocate. So, I mean, yeah, it was like the universe is bound to bring people like us together. And the last thing I'll
Mhm.
say, you said you're a billionaire. I'll say I'm a trillionaire. And the reason
Love it.
why is because I met you.
I believe it. I mean, it's already written, man. It is already written, and that's why it's important to verbalize this stuff, especially on video, because to me, your time, and I've proven it through. If people have come to my conferences, I've proven that the videos that we create are time stamping a memory in the future. I speak it into existence. Like, I'm creating memories. So when I say I'm a billionaire, I am a billionaire. Now the future self it's already on video that I'm a billionaire. So I have to catch up to that memory that I created now that is in the past, 1 minute, 1 hour, 2 minutes, 7 seconds ago. I really believe that. Like, we've been doing that with our company. Like, we do future memories with videos. So we create a video that's in the future. So it's now in the past,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. And then we remember what we already created.
So,
So
last question that I want to ask you while we're still here
yeah.
together.
Yep.
What does being a billionaire mean to you?
Great question. Freedom, man. And now I'll just take it into a story that was asked to me of, I was sitting in Peru in a garden, and with the gentleman that was helping me through my process. And you guys know I go to Peru twice a year, and I sit in the garden for 11 days. And I was sitting there, he came up to me and he just asked me high impact questions. And he said, JV, what does money mean to you? Because every time I go there, I'm at a different financial reality, right? He goes, what does money mean to you? I said, sitting here with you in a garden of Peru. That was my answer. The fact that I could get on a plane, I could go to Peru, I could sit there, I could give to the cause, and I could help other people do that same thing. That's really what it means to me, is resources. Being able to build things, it represents resources, frequency, and vibration, because they created a monetary system where I need money to get more resources. But to me, it means freedom, and freedom for my family, freedom for my people, freedom of time, freedom of movement, freedom of creation. But yeah, that's what it means to me, is those experiences that like sitting in Peru in the garden.
Beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I love you, brother. I know we're over an hour now, and I know we took a bunch of your time. But how can people get a hold of you? I know you talk to the course that you have and stuff. Like, how do people get a hold of you? How they can get in contact with you?
Yeah, so I have my YouTube channel. I'm releasing videos about once every week or 2 weeks. I'm not that frequent, for a reason, to protect my soul. And
Mm.
also, I do a weekly live stream typically where I talk about the kind of stuff that we're talking about today. Again, all free over on my YouTube channel. And then if anyone wanted to support my work, I have a membership available. It's like $9.99 a month on Patreon. That I do a weekly podcast where I go deep into the charts and I reveal like everywhere I stand on my weekly wrap up. And it also includes access to our community, which is full of really beautiful, incredibly high vibrational conscious beings just like us. And it's a gift to be able to, be a leader in that community. And as well, my website, watersabove.com, if anyone's interested in any of my courses or any of those educational materials. And any Patreon supporter of mine gets the biggest discounts available on everything that I create.
That's amazing. Well, we love you, brother. And then a lot of people are asking here if we're going to do this again. This is going to be a consistent thing now. We're going to keep this rolling. I feel it's very important for people to hear from, like when I talked to, and I'll share the story really quickly, but when I talked to Waters one time, I think we got after live and I talked to you for like an hour one time. And I'm like, man, I just, my mind was like opened after talking to you. And I just love that you speak your truth. That's the type of people I refuse to be around. I won't be around you if you don't speak your truth. And I won't be around people that won't allow me to speak my truth. Right. And so I think it's very important that all of us work to seek our truth, but also understand that other people, that's what I like about you. Like, it's not like, JV, I'm right, this is how you do it. It's like, hey, this is what I know. This is what I'm experiencing. Take it or leave it. And I've learned a lot from you, man. So I appreciate you. I love you very much. And to all of you guys, I want to say thank you. Cusco, Peru is where I was. We're going to do this consistently. So we love you guys. We appreciate you. As we always say, warriors rise. I'm going to go get my